Hello, Setonians. Hope you're all doing well this week. Today, I am joined with Director of Student Athlete Wellbeing, Hadara Katarski. Hadara, how are you doing today?
Good. Thank you for having me.
Awesome. Thank you for being here.
Of course.
So, I wanted to ask you, first of all, why does mental health, uh, why does it matter so much to
I was a student athlete in college, and that was a really long time ago because I'm so old. And we didn't really have any support for student athletes, particular, right? There was always counseling services, even though it wasn't talked about as much. And it was really still, you're an athlete, you do everything, you do it well, and you keep going. And so when I was in college, I didn't find a place where I was able to go where I could be understood for all the things that I was managing, right? And I had my own perfectionism, and I had to do this right and I had to do that perfectly and then still manage all of this. And so um, as I knew the sport was such a part of me and I knew I wanted to help coach and motivate young people, I felt like, how can I make a difference aside from just physically coaching, but doing it on more of a mental side and giving student athletes the support that they probably have never had before? Because not only will it make them live a better and healthier life, but also make them a better athlete.
that's very noble of you, being that change that you want to see in the world.
Yeah,
It's very
thank
noble
you.
of you. So, on that kind of page, how does mental health or a poor mental health affect athletes on and off the field?
Honestly, almost in every way possible, right? Because we focus so much on the physical part of the athlete. But if an athlete is expected to have all this physical energy, right, manage everything they have going on, um, if they're not mentally feeling okay, either they not don't have energy, they're overly anxious, so they're using up their energy, they're questioning themselves, they don't have self confidence, they can't overcome mistakes, they're going to struggle to be successful, right? Something as small as, I'm a runner, so it's easy to give running examples, but if
Right.
I'm in a marathon and I say to myself, I'm really tired, this sucks, I can't do this, I'm probably going to just stop. But if I say to myself, yeah, this is really hard, but all I have to do is keep putting one foot in front of the other, I'm going to make it, this is worth it, you know, it completely changes the outcome. On the flip side, there's a lot of, is it cause or effect? But if an athlete's struggling with their mental health, so they're not sleeping well, they're not eating, clearly performance is going to suffer because we know that sleep is the best recovery tool. If we're not eating well to fuel ourselves, we're going to struggle. So, which comes first? There's mental health struggles, so they're not eating or sleeping well, or they're not eating, sleeping, and well, so then there's mental health struggles. But an athlete has so many unique pressures and expectations of their time and their energy that if anything is off in any part of their right life, it's going to affect them as an athlete.
Right. It seems like it's just as important as physical health, although it doesn't seem to be talked about as much.
Exactly, and that's the shame. I mean, we always say, everyone strength trains now. When I was in school, even that was a little bit, oh, some athletes should strength train, some shouldn't. We never question if an athlete should strength train to make their muscles stronger. So why don't all athletes need to make their brain stronger? And it doesn't mean there has to be anything wrong. We can always make our brain stronger because we can always be mentally stronger, right? Mentally tougher, deal with adversity better, overcome challenges. So I think we're moving in that direction, but sports psychology is a very new field. And also the idea that we're accepting that athletes don't have to be superhuman and don't have to not say anything and just do what they need to do. They can talk about their struggles, they can admit they need help, they can ask for help.
So, in order to advocate for student athletes' mental health, you seem to promote an app called The Zone, which helps out with student athletes' mental health and mindfulness. Could you tell me a little bit more about the app and what it does for these students?
Yeah, so we got connected with a startup company, and they are former Division II athletes that had their own struggles and didn't feel like athletes had the support necessary or were comfortable with what they had and they wanted to do more. So it's really focused on wellness and mental health. We forget that the general wellness is such a part of this, the eating, sleeping, recovery that can either lead to bigger mental health issues. Wanted to have something that was anonymous, confidential, 24/7 in the pocket, right? So many students now do everything on their phone. So they thought, well, we're not comfortable going to a human being. Why don't we give you something you can have in your hand to have resources? There's a whole resource library of everything from professional athletes, college athletes on their own stories, what they've gone through, to nutrition, sleep, various wellness, meditation, mindfulness, and then ways that they can check in with themselves. And that actually on the back end provides us data with how are our student athletes, what's the climate that we have. No names, no specific, but I can see, 70% of the students are feeling pretty good, but they're struggling with performance anxiety, right? So then we know what do we need to do to help them. Because without any kind of data of what's going on, we don't really know where to direct our efforts, even though we want to provide more help.
Yeah, that sounds like a very useful tool in order to help these students. Yeah, thank you very much for being here. Thank you very much for all of your resources and
Of
your
course.
knowledge today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you all for watching this week's feature interview. See you next week.